And welcome back, guys. Now, I've got to tell you, I had a little bit of a catastrophe. Just a small catastrophe. I had another game crash, which is a little bit annoying, which set me back a bit. I had to go back to a previous save. But I've tried to get the thing back to exactly where we were, which I think we are now. It's year 52, which is where we were, and everything is pretty much the same. We got a little bit less iron. We still need stone. That's where we were. Food is a little bit better because when I went back, I split my animals earlier, and I split them into multiple pens. And this, I think, is a tip. I put in a couple of smaller pens and use those so I split these into these, and then split those into this one up here, and I put another cow pen down here. And if you've got a small group of animals, I'm talking 8 to 10 cows or sheep, they seem to multiply faster. So rather than splitting them into two, if you split them into three, I don't know. I think they seem to multiply faster. But maybe that's just me. I also put in another big chicken farm next to this one. And I tell you what, these chickens multiply fast. Like if you want a fast food source, chickens, I think they're pretty imber, to be absolutely honest. Down here, pretty much the same. I put in that second forest node. I haven't put the roads in because they weren't using the road, so I haven't bothered. And that's it. Like everything else is, pretty much as it was. There might be the odd house that's sort of in a slightly different position. I put two houses down there for those guys because they had a bit of a hike. And I was starting to convert these to stone houses. Yeah, that one's done. I'll do another one while I'm here. Let's convert that to a stone house. Excellent. Although, to be honest, we are still short of stone. We're always short of stone. Yeah, that's happening. So, okay. So, where were we? Okay. Other than collecting stone, we were getting these two schools built. So, we can let those build, and hopefully we can just let this settle. Let the education fill in. So I'm going to crank this up and let it rock. Oh, and we've just got our first students going to school. I thought I'd show you that. We've got 2 students in this one. We've got one in this one. And we've got 2 students in this one. Excellent. We've also got an outbreak of diphtheria. But as long as you've got medicine and you've got a hospital, diseases aren't really a problem, to be honest. So, okay, right, I'm going to let the kids carry on going to school, and we'll keep a track of, as you can see, that's where we put the nomads in. I think I only had when I redid it, I only had 17 nomads, so it's only a little spike. So there's the gradual progression. Here's our flatlined education. So hopefully we'll see this blue line start to go up as more students get educated. Well, that's for more students. The education, we need to go to the citizens. In actual fact, it's this one. So this blue line hopefully should start going up. Now let's have a look. Health is coming down a bit. Happiness is about the same. It's above the 75 mark. But health has come down a little touch. I want to keep an eye on that. Education's flatlining. That's what we want to see going up. And clothes, yeah, we're keeping pretty much everybody clothed, although it's only just keeping up. I've put in a 4th tailor, which I don't know whether I told you about. Yeah, put in a 4th tailor there. Oh, and I'm sure you guys will have commented, but I remembered to turn this to warm coat as well, because this was set to hide coats. Okay, right, so, well, yeah, I mean, it's just a case of letting the education crank up. I don't really want to change too much, because I want to see what the effect is of the education, so I'm just going to let it run. Okay, now I thought this was worth showing you, because I think this is important. It's not such a big deal, I guess, if you're putting in education right from the beginning, but if you sort of suddenly put in education, you can see now we've got 34 students, we've got 43 children, so up to the age of 10, that's the children. That's kind of what we had before. But now, instead of having like sort of 260 adults, we've got 230 adults and 32 students. And we've actually got room for 20 in each of these, so we could have up to 40. But the point is, we've now got effectively, almost 80 children. We've got like double the number of children. And those are mouths to feed, and they're not doing anything. So you can see our labourers has gone down to 19, because we've had people dying of old age. That's all they've been dying of. We've had loads and loads of kids born, but you've got to have a decent amount of spare labourers when you put this in, because otherwise you run the risk of going into a death spiral, because people die of old age. If you can't replace them, you're going to start losing people from your key professions, and then you're going to have big problems. So hopefully, fairly soon, some of these... Oh! Is it... Like, that might be in my imagination, but I'm just wondering if that... Like, is it like a slight uptick? We'll let it run for a bit longer. It's only been running for like a year. We'll let it run for a year or two and see how we're doing. Okay, so this is kind of interesting. I was right. It was that when I said that was that a little tick. Yes, it was the first tick of this, and as you can see, this blue line is going up pretty rapidly. To be honest, every child that becomes an adult now is an educated adult. We've still got room for all of our students. We've got 38 at the moment. I may have to put in another school. Potentially, but I'm kind of not too worried about it. I mean, if we get like 90% educated, that'd be like a million times better than we are now. Now, food dropped like just before, sort of just when it was about here. The food was as low as like about 4,000, 4,500, something like that. And I was kind of getting worried, because we've dropped from like 10,000 food down to like 4,000. But since then, it started to just gradually climb. And at the same time, so is kind of everything else. Our tools is starting to climb up now. We're over 400. Clothes is starting to climb up. I mean, this was down, 5 to 10, 5 to 10, 5 to 10. Now, this is inexorably, it's a good word, isn't it, is inexorably rising. So I think we'll carry on keeping an eye on this, because this is really interesting to sort of understand just how much of an impact this has on our production. And what we can do is we can compare this against some of the other graphs, like food. Right, so we came down, right, here we go. We dipped down to here, and now we're starting to go back up again. So I'm like, we were up to like 17,000. And then it's come slowly down, and now we're starting to go back up. And that peak at the bottom, that trough I should say, that's exactly when we started our education. So that, awesome. Clothing. Oh, look at that. We're hobbling along, education kicks in, and boom. And let's just compare that. That's like the second tick in. Let's compare that back to when education kicked in. Yep, second tick, boom. So if we can get our health going back up, then everything is looking good. Let's just check the population, see how stable. Yeah. So that's like since we hit that 300, it's been stable, and then it's just kind of gone up a tiny bit, but there we go. There's our education going up and up. Alrighty, let's keep an eye on it. Okay, let me pause it there for a second because I want to show you a couple of things. So, the education continues to just go up and up and up and up. Excellent. What effect is it having? Now, food has just been going down and down and down. I thought it was going to pick up there, but no, it's taken another downward turn. And we're down to like 2,500 food now, so that's kind of why I stopped it, because I need to put in some extra food production, or we're going to have a bit of a catastrophe. So, like, has population changed? No, population is still around just over that 300 mark. So it's not that food is being consumed by more people. So I don't know. It's just like at 300 we're just not producing enough food, so we need to add some food. What else? So logs. Kind of not really much effect on log production. But I guess that, like, do foresters produce more when they're educated? Kind of not looking like it. What about firewood? Are our woodcutters producing more firewood? Actually, it seems like they are. But I'd like to see that over a little bit more time to be absolutely sure. Tools, definitely. I mean, there's no question about it. Tools has taken a really nice turn up. And I think the same can be said for clothes. Yeah, look, clothes has gone up. So blacksmiths, tailors, they definitely get a big performance boost. Now, our herb situation, even though I've added 2 more herbalists, it's flatlining. Which kind of makes me wonder whether adding like a second herbalist is because we've only got two herbalist huts or whatever the hell they're called. So what I'm going to do, like right now, I'm going to go and put in another herbalist over here. That I think that is a pretty good idea. Herbalist. Yeah, there. So we'll put a herbalist in there. You know, I should probably, to be honest, put in another house. Yeah, not a bad idea. In fact, I'm going to put in 2. What the hell? Although, see, you know, again, adding population, not adding food, and food is pretty critical. How on earth am I going to bring in more food, like, quickly? We do have a bit of spare labour, and I could always nick a few miners. I tell you what I'm thinking of doing. What I'm thinking of doing is putting in like somewhere over here, just a gatherer and a hunter. Okay, so just a gatherer and a hunter over there. I'm thinking to myself, storage barn? Should I put in a storage barn for them? And I'm thinking, yeah, probably a good idea. We want it outside of the circles, preferably. So I'm thinking of just let's pop a storage barn there. Okay, so that should bring in a little bit of food. To be honest, it would have been a good idea when we were sort of up at the 4,000-5,000 at least to maybe split one of our herds again, and I'm kind of tempted to maybe split the chickens again, because they reproduce really quickly, and even while they're split, they still produce eggs. Yeah, I think that is probably a good way to go. Let's take it from. Can we get a 20 by 20? Yes, we can. Okay, let's put in a 20 by 20 chicken farm. Let's crank that up. When that's cleared, I'll split the chickens and yeah, I mean, it's just a case of hope that the gatherers get in place. So what I'll do is I'll crank the gatherers up by 4, ready, and crank the hunters up by 3, ready, and yeah, we need that herbalist. What is that thing called? Herbalist's what? It's annoying me now. I can't. Oh, it's just called herbalist. Okay, well, we need the herbalist to get built, and yeah, and we'll. I don't know. Like, this is pretty darn close. I think I'm going to wait for the gatherers and the hunters to come online before I risk splitting the chickens, because that could push us over the edge. But we'll see. Okay, so we've been sort of leaving this city alone for about 10 years now. Village. And let's take a look at the results. Well, as you can see, education has just continued going up, and we're up to about, I don't know, like 85% educated now. So what's happened to everything else? Okay, well, clothes have stayed the same. Health, when I figured out that I hadn't got enough medicine, I put in extra herbalists. I've had to put in 4 herb stations and 6 herbalists to actually get this starting to go positive. So health has rebounded now, and health's up to sort of 80%, so 4 hearts. I have noticed that happiness has been going down. This is the green line for happiness. It's kind of like pretty much steady at the moment, but it's definitely dropped. And I think that's got something to do with the deaths that we're getting. So I think we need to go church cemetery in the near future. Okay, so that's that. Let's take a look at population, right? Population, we were steady at around the 300 mark, and since there, so for like the last, I don't know, 5 years or so, we've gone into like a fairly steady decline. And it's all old age deaths. But what's happening is we're not replacing the children at the rate that we were when we were growing. And I'll show you why. If we look at the houses, look, 57 and 63. Now, they stopped having children at 40. So for the last 20 years, these guys haven't been producing children. Look at it, 60, 63. They've got a 19-year-old kid, so they haven't had a kid for the last 20 years. And it's the same like 73 and 66. And the problem is, because they're living there, they're not freeing up the houses, so that where there are kids who, you know, get to the age where they want to move out. Look, 87 and 74, they're occupying these houses. So, you know, we're just not getting the couples producing all the kids. Look, it's all these old couples. They're not producing any more kids. But they're taking up housing space. And they're eating our food. Look, 70 and 81, for goodness sake. But, yeah, so kind of, that's like a little bit of an issue. So I think, you know, we could do with stimulating some growth. But it just goes to show that it takes a village, if you just leave it alone, it probably takes 25, 30 years just to settle down and become like stable. And it's definitely going to go down in population. Where are we? We're like 30, so we're up, we're about between 270 and 280. About 280 at the moment. So we've lost about 20 population, which isn't like a lot. But it is, you know, it is a marked decrease. And I've actually had to reduce the miners to, you know, take that into consideration. You know, we're running with like 1 builder and 3 labourers at the moment. I've reduced the miners down to 10. So we really could use some fresh blood. Now, what about productivity? Because that was the thing that we really wanted to look at. And food. Okay, now food has gone up. But it's only gone up by about 2,000 a year, which is nothing. And I think that that is more to do with the fact that our population's gone down than it is to do with increased productivity. So I'm not seeing a big productivity boost in food. What else? Like logs? No. I mean, has it gone up a little bit in terms of productivity? Like this was the previous 10 years before we put the education in, and it's going up like that. So yeah, have we seen some improvement? Yes. Is it massive? No. Let's take a look at tools. Tools again. You know, we were flatlining for a long time. Then we put the education in, and we've seen an increase. Is it noticeable? Yes. Is it huge? No. You know, not really. I was expecting to see big increases in productivity. These are small increases in productivity. What else? Clothing. Clothing is exactly the same. Clothing's probably done the best, to be honest, of all of them. But again, I don't know whether that's the productivity of the education, or whether it's just the fact that you know maybe we had the right balance of cows and sheep. I put in at the beginning of that, I put in a fourth tailor, so maybe that's maybe that's the issue. And these guys are not 100% productive all the time because they're a bit short of wool, because we're trading wool. So let's talk about the next phase. Now that we've covered education, and we've kind of covered that to death, so let's move on.